Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Hollywood After Dark. It is Monday, July 22nd, 2022, and what are we looking at on the screen? What is this? This is Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon, the director's cut. I didn't realize Ed Skrein was going to be going full tentacle porn. Zack Snyder loves his anime, folks, and apparently he's got a fetish that we're now looking at as being the real thing. Also, Deadpool 3 news, because, you know, the movie's coming out this week. Hollywood After Dark, let's fucking go, yeah, woohoo! Hey, what's going on, everybody? How you guys doing? Welcome back to Hollywood After Dark. It's Monday. It's a new week. Movies are doing quite well right now, actually. Looking at a lot of the reports coming out from last year to this year, we are definitely seeing a lot of people showing more interest. However, Barbenheimer was a year ago. That phenomenon, that once-in-a-generation phenomenon where counter-programming became something of its own entirely, spurred on by the internet and embraced by the movie-going public. People who would normally not go to movies, like one or the other, decided to do a very, very, very unique and interesting double feature. And you got to respect it. I thought Barbie was okay. Liked it well enough. I still haven't seen Oppenheimer yet. So yeah. I have been very open about my disdain of Christopher Nolan since the final act of Inception. Okay. Right. And I've been reading these things about Chris Nolan recently, talking about like the line from The Dark Knight. You either live long enough. You either die young being a hero, whatever it is, or you live long enough to become the villain, whatever that. You either die a hero or live long enough to become a villain, like that line. And he was all like, I didn't know what that meant. My brother wrote it, but now I kind of understand it a little bit more. And it's like, because your brother is the better writer. Your brother is the better writer. I know I'm going to get flack and flame from Nolanites that are just like, no, he's the greatest thing. So he's an amazing director. But he is kind of a little bit of a batshit insane storyteller. And he needs someone to kind of hold his hands. Kind of like Hideo Kojima, right? Everyone's like, oh, Hideo Kojima he's just God. He's just an amazing guy. And you're like, yeah, no. The dude is very creative. Insanely creative. But his stories become pants on head stupid after a while. And maybe it's, you need someone to kind of rein it in. Okay? And in Nolan's case, it's his brother. Kojima, he's in a whole other world. No one will ever cage that beast, so to speak, because they keep buying his stuff. Same with Nolan, I guess. And maybe the same goes with Zack Snyder. Okay, maybe the same goes with Zack Snyder. We'll kind of start off with that. Well, before we do that, I gotta go through the process. We do have a Discord. That is a great way to keep the conversation going. A great way to keep what's going on, especially when I have my manic moments of wanting to burn everything down. It's a great way to talk to other people who are part of the HWAD Squad family. Check it out. Link in the video description, or you can just take a snapshot and scan the QR code and join the fun. Or you can become a Hollywood After Dark premium member. Channel memberships help support the channel, keep us going, keep me coming to you guys every day to tell you about what's going on in the news and to give you my hot, spicy, sexy takes. So you guys can do that. I really do appreciate that as well. There's also, I do some little videos here, like my top movies from 1990. I'm going to be doing 1991 tomorrow, so look for that. The Overlooked Hotel, talking about Judgment Night. I'm going to be doing another one of those this week as well, so trying to pick out the movie. Kind of leaning towards like Zero Effect from the late 90s. If anyone saw Zero Effect, it's a good movie. You should check out the trailer if you haven't. I think it's Jason Reitman's first movie, starring Bill Pullman and Ben Stiller. Solid little film, shot actually in my hometown of Portland, Oregon, which is one of the reasons why I like it as well. So something there worth checking out if you guys want. But why don't we dive into the news? The big news of the week, opening things up, quite frankly, was Twisters. I'm going to start with that. We'll get to the Zack Snyder thing here in a second. But Twisters opens $80.5 million domestically. Biggest opening weekend for a disaster movie ever. Second biggest opening for a live action film this year. Only $2 million behind the opening of Oppenheimer. That's pretty good. And that's not an R-rated 3-hour talkie fest. It is a turn off your brain while multiple twisters tear their way through the Midwest and very attractive people try to figure out how to survive them. I guess I've actually never seen Twister or Twisters. But one thing I did find interesting about this week is we did find out that Steven Spielberg gave a note to remove the kiss scene from Twisters, saying here, this is coming in from Daisy Edgar Jones, that it's a Spielberg note, wasn't it? I think it stops the film feeling too cliched. People like romance, okay? It obviously didn't hurt the movie, right? It's not like, it would almost be like having anyone but you, Glenn Powell, Sydney Sweeney, like not kiss at the end of that movie, considering the fact that the entire marketing for that film was based around the two of them like being insanely sexually attracted to each other, and then like all the issues that are going on with that. This movie, I guess you have your disaster porn. You don't need your actual human on human contact. Someone somewhere is going to orgasm from all of the destruction. The cows, folks, the cows will once again be sucked up. I'm assuming. I remember the trailer for Twisters. And then again, like with the cow, and I have a feeling the cow is going to make an appearance on this one as well. Although everyone who's told me about Twisters, I should say, has told me that it's very good and that I should definitely check it out. And I do want to do that. One of the other things that popped up in regards to Glenn Powell news, which I thought was interesting, keeping it just kind of on brand for what we are talking about. He actually gave a little bit of an update in regards to filming Edgar Wright's Running Man remake. He says the world Edgar's developed on this thing is just outrageous. I'm so fired up about it. The Running Man is a movie that I, like many of you, many of you adore. And I mean adore. It's not like one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, The Running Man's a pretty good movie. No. Like, we adore this movie. It didn't do great when it came out. It came out the same year as Predator. I did a Podio commentary on it like a long time ago. It came out the same year as Predator, and like Arnold needed Predator to like do well because Running Man did not. But I think Running Man found itself a really good home over the years, like many movies do. And I don't know Edgar Wright's an amazing director, so I have no doubt in my mind that he'll be able to craft something that is going to be stylistic, very timely in its satire, as well as being fun. It just depends, though, on who's going to be playing the host of the game show, who's going to be the new Killian, and who's going to be, charismatic and sadistic. I don't know. Would Anthony Starr be a good Killian? Is he too young for that? I mean, he could do charismatic and sadistic, but then again, we don't want him to be pigeonholed, right? Anthony Starr is a good actor. If you haven't ever seen Banshee, he played Lucas Hood, great role. Obviously, Homelander, great role. But in case of The Running Man, let me know your thoughts on who do you think should be Killian in that movie, and what kind of stylings do you think that Edgar Wright is going to go for? Because anything could really happen at this point. I think it's going to be fun nonetheless. Okay, so another quick piece of news we found out today. Phoebe Waller-Bridge has given a bit of an update on the live-action Tomb Raider series that will begin filming likely early next year, saying that we've got to find our Lara Croft. That global-wide search will start sooner rather than later. Who's going to play Lara Croft? I mean, it's been 6 years, right? 6 years since Alicia Vikander played Lara Croft in the reboot of Tomb Raider, which is actually a solid movie, a very underrated film, a very fun movie that followed mostly what the first game had done, its plot-wise, and it was good. Walton Goggins as the bad guy was excellent. I mean, like, there was a lot of that movie that was actually pretty solid. It just didn't connect with the audiences when it came out, which is unfortunate. But this is now to being a TV series over there at Amazon. And again, it's like, I mentioned this the other day with Halo being canceled. It's like, that should go to Amazon, be completely creatively retooled and into something that fans are going to want to see. And I'm hopeful that the Tomb Raider franchise is going to be good. Give me high octane adventure while also giving me a good, I don't know if I necessarily say like a good character study, because it doesn't necessarily need to be a good character study. But we need something that's going to be high adventure with action and dinosaurs and raptors and mythological creatures and Indiana Jones and dual wielding pistols and high rise jumping and backflips and diving and all of the things that Lara Croft is. They could do it. Because if you go back and you look at the 2001 movie with Angelina Jolie, that's a good movie, right? That's a solid movie. That's a very fun film to watch. Simon West did a very good job on that. Even Angelina Jolie the other day had said that after doing Tomb Raider and the Cradle of Life, she didn't want to go back and do a third one because she felt that the first two were good enough, which I think is a bit of a cop-out answer, to be fair. I think after Tomb Raider and the Cradle of Life, she went on to go do Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which really erupted her career, especially her relationship with Brad Pitt. So I think at that point she became simply too popular, too powerful, if you will, to go back to something as lowly as Lara Croft and Tomb Raider. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that one. Finding out more information here about King Spawn. Finally, the Blumhouse-produced, Todd McFarlane directed Spawn reboot has now got a new name, King Spawn. I mean, I don't know how I feel about that name, to be honest with you. All right, fine. I mean, look, it's blue. I mean, if it's not rated R, don't even bother. I don't think Todd McFarlane is going to do something that's not rated R. Apparently, Jamie Foxx is still attached to this. But we see that the script is being written by Matt Mixon, Malcolm Spellman, and Scott Silver, who I believe have some good accolades. I can't remember what they are right now underneath their belt, but good for them. Look, I remember in 1997 when Spawn came out with Michael Jai White. I was there with my friends opening weekend. We watched it opening day. I bought the soundtrack. It's what introduced me to Sneaker Pimps. The original movie, while absolutely bonkers bad in a couple of ways, I mean, it's still iconic in its own right. And I think it's a fine movie to watch. I do. I think it's a fine movie to watch for just like late 90s bad CG cinema. But still, like, it was very, 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 I don't want to say impressive for the time, but it was ambitious. It was ambitious, and they pulled off some really good stuff, and they faltered on some other stuff, which was kind of common for the late 90s into the 2000s and even now, so let's hope that this one is going to be good. I'd love to see Spawn come back, dark, brooding, heroes, R-rated, dark, violent, chains, all that kind of stuff. That would be something I very much want to see. One of the things now we are getting a bit of an update on is that the I Know What You Did Last Summer, I don't know if this is a reboot, a remake, or a sequel, has now cast Camila Mendes, Madeline Klein, Sarah Pidgeon, Tyreek Withers, and Jonah Howard King. I know Camila Mendes from Riverdale, right? I think I've seen some of her TikToks with the other girls from Riverdale. But apparently this is going to be a sequel because Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. are in talks to reprise their roles. This is one I found out the other day through an unnamed source. I know, right? Sources. That they were going to shoot the movie in North Carolina, but they opted to move the production over to Australia, I think, where there weren't any of those pesky unions to deal with, right? That's something that I was hearing from a friend of mine. Let me just go back and kind of find my original tweet about it here, because I know I talked about it. I just got to find it on Twitter. Okay, here we go. They're moving it to... They're going to Australia because it's the land of no unions. So there you go on that one. If you happen to be a pro-union, pro-IATSE member, happy that they just signed their new agreement with Hollywood producers. A lot of movies are moving to overseas, I guess. And so we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. Obviously, it's going to be, I don't know how I feel about it, to be honest with you. Right. I just don't know how I feel about it, to be honest with you, simply because it's a movie that, like, I mean, do we need another one? They did a television series that, like, no one watched, that was more Gen Z aimed and had a lot more like sex and drugs and rock and roll, I guess. And still, like, no one gave a shit. It's a simple story of a bunch of kids who accidentally kill a guy, think they kill a guy, and then he comes back to haunt them. Because he knows what they did last summer. It's a simple Hookman story. It's the kind of story you tell around the campfire. I don't see why you need a franchise. But then again, when you had I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, and Jack Black played a white Rastafarian who was high all the time. I mean, I'm not gonna argue against that. Oh, by the way, real quick side note, I talked about this the other day. Kyle Gass apologized for his comment about the Trump assassination attempt. And then it was reported that he did remove that apology from his Instagram. which leads me to believe that he did that out of anger, because I feel like the Tenacious D as a band is probably over for the time being. And I think, and honestly, I stand with Kyle. He should not. Jack Black is in a tricky situation. But again, this is your friend of 40 years, 40 plus years. You know what I mean? You know, this is something that if you just would have waited and gone quietly for a couple days, it would have gone over. Because here's the thing, guys, we're a week past the assassination attempt and no one cares. No one cares, right? It's not in the news cycle anymore. No one's talking about it anymore. You know why? Because the shooter was a confirmed Republican. So there you go, right? There you go. The media can't latch onto it. But the problem, though, is that the left is always super afraid of themselves, always super afraid of themselves. And that's, of course, what happens in these situations. And it's terrible. But I don't want to go off on that. This is a movie show. I'm trying not to get political. I do apologize. Sometimes I can't help myself. I really do. I really do want to not do that. But I'm an idiot. Please disregard me entirely. So let's talk about the Rebel Moon director's cut. Okay, here's the trailer for it. We are going to watch it because I just want you guys to see it. This is a trailer that I give credit. It doesn't talk much about story, and I want to go through it again and give my thoughts. If it wants to start, come on, start. There we go.
Dig my grave, both wide and deep. Place a marble stone at my head and feet, and on my breast a snow white dove, to tell this world that I died for love. Oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lordy. My grave, go wide and deep, and on my breast a snow white dove, to tell this world that I died for love. Oh Lordy, Lord, oh Lordy, me.
At least I die on the side of honor.
Oh Lord, oh Lord.
Is there still such a thing?
Their wrath will be my vengeance.
Okay, so violent, definitely violent. There's a little bit of sex in there, right? They talked about all the sex in the movie, right? Tons of sex, penetrative, tentacle sex. I don't even know. I don't know if that's what's going to happen. Look, the thing is that trailer is 100% light on story, which if you read the reviews of Rebel Moon Part 1 and Part 2, seems to track for the entire thing because the story doesn't exist there either, apparently. I don't know. I've talked about this for months. I have avoided this movie. I have not watched Part 1 or Part 2. I have seen the response that people have had to it. I've seen the takes, how much they've torn it apart. Even largely Zack Snyder's own fan base has not jumped on this movie like they did his DC stuff, which goes to show you that the people who love Zack Snyder, the ones that are terminally online, really just love the movies that he does that are linked to DC characters. His original work will get noticed, but it doesn't have like a lot of staying power. Like Army of the Dead, you figure that there would have been more with that. It did well, right, when it came out in 2021. It's been 3 years. There's been no movement on the sequel. The animated series Lost Vegas apparently is no more, or at least it's on hold. Zach is doing the Twilight of the Gods series, which comes out, I think, sometime later on this year, which does look interesting to say the least. And then the Rebel Moon thing, they're doing a podcast now. They're doing a podcast about the Jimmies. The Jimmies are the robots, by the way. So the Jimmies, they're going to get rustled. They're going to rustle some Jimmies with Ella Purnell and a few other people that are going to be doing voices in the podcast, which should be interesting. But it goes to show you that right now, ways to carry on the legacy of some of these properties, the way to kind of carry things forward, to really kind of expand upon the lore and build up a fan base is most likely going to be audio productions. I wholeheartedly believe that, which is one of the reasons why I'm usually podcast only. And that's just because I feel like it's the best way in many ways to kind of, keep up with everything, right? And so we've got, how do I say this? Like it's one of the best ways in many ways to have your story continue in a way that's going to be accessible to a lot of people, as well as, bringing in new listeners, right? New viewers and whatnot. So I don't know. I mean, look, maybe I'm just talking out my ass on this one. I don't quite know. However, it is going to be something worth talking about down the road. So, all right, let's get in to some of the Deadpool stuff here, because there's lots going on with that. First and foremost here tonight, social media will have the first reactions to Deadpool and Wolverine dropping sometime this evening. I'll definitely cover them in tomorrow's episode. But for right now, I mean, I would say spoilers beware. I don't quite know what to expect from this. Obviously, I'm thinking it's going to be good things, but there you go. So tomorrow we're going to have more about what's going on with that. We did find out more that Mephisto was apparently going to be, was considered once to be the potential villain for Deadpool and Wolverine early in the process. Considering that Deadpool 3 or Deadpool and Wolverine is getting opened in China, Mephisto would not have played there. So if they would have done Mephisto in the movie, they would not be in China. And since this movie is meant to kind of usher in the new Marvel Cinematic Universe, a bit of a creative reboot to bring in the Fox people, to bring in the mutants, to kind of mishmash all those ideas while really kind of moving things forward, given all of the events of the last couple of years in phases 4 and 5 and is everything. Having the character Mephisto pop up, and then having the movie kind of yeeted from China would not do well for them, to be fair. We also have got a little bit of an update here in regards to who's playing Lady Deadpool. Now, Ryan Reynolds, it's been speculated, I should say, that Ryan Reynolds would be playing Lady Deadpool in the movie. They would just put him in a blonde wig and pop on some boob armor. He has said that that's not the case. He actually has said that he had asked to not know who the actor was in the suit. That he didn't want to know who the actor was in the suit. He just wanted to be surprised. Well, a lot of people are under the belief, a lot of people are under the speculation that it is going to be Taylor Swift. And I still think that's possible. I just think that's possible given everything that we know about Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' friendship with Taylor Swift, how Ryan Reynolds and I think it was Hugh Jackman and Sean Levy all went to a Taylor concert, or maybe it was just Blake Lively. Hugh Jackman wasn't there, but Sean Levy was definitely there. But then this image popped up today. This was shared on Instagram of Blake Lively giving her husband Ryan Reynolds a kiss while on the set of Deadpool 3. She went out to London to go visit the film set. And one can't help but wonder, because she's dressed in red, is she Lady Deadpool? Like I said, it's possible it could be Taylor Swift. I think the likely answer is Blake Lively. I think that would be probably like it'd be a way to kind of merge everything together, because Deadpool changed Ryan Reynolds' life entirely. And so having his family involved, having this is kind of a familial thing, right? He's like really good friends with Hugh Jackman. Sean Levy and him have made 2 previous films together, and they very much work well together. They very much like each other. So that's kind of a familial thing. Coming in, the Marvel stuff, coming into the MCU, like that's joining a new family. It just seems to be like that's kind of what they're going for. I just feel like that's what we're going to see. But again, I want to hear your thoughts, and I want to hear your opinions about what you believe we're going to get out of all of that in just a couple days. My God, only 3 days now until that. Holy crap. We got Hugh Jackman here is saying that he wants to see Wolverine and Hulk together in a film, but then goes on to say, I'm terrified of how that will feel as the actor. I just get flown around. What I love is that he's playing up the idea of continuing on as Wolverine, as this new variant of Wolverine in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because this version of Wolverine is going to get the redemption arc that the other Wolverine had also gotten. It's not even that Wolverine needed a redemption arc, but in his mind, because he felt tortured at the end of Logan for what happened. And so he was able to redeem himself at the end and then die peacefully. This character also screwed up, but then he's going to get the opportunity to join a misfit family. And that's going to kind of be where his character arc goes. So that should be fascinating to see. Also, I did make a comment here underneath it saying that considering that Marvel can't do a Hulk standalone movie, they might as well do a team up with Wolverine. Deadpool and Spider-Man is probably going to happen as well, because that's something Sean Levy has talked about. And Marvel right now is probably going to do a bunch of team up movies with big key characters in order to bring people back to the theater. I just think that's what they're going to do. And that's perfectly fine for them to do, to be honest with you. We've also got a bit of an update here on whether or not there's going to be a DC and Marvel crossover. Kevin Feige, interviewing with Collider, talks about it. He says here, I mean, I think about it occasionally, like any fan would think about it. I don't know when in the heck that would ever happen or how it would ever happen, but we've been taking too long for me to go never. We'd never be able to do that. We'll never say never, but no plans. Okay. So we know that, look, Kevin Feige, much like Zack Snyder, will never say no to a paying customer. They always want that tinge of an idea of a hopeful promise on the back end. That's what they do. That's a lot about what they do. And we know that, and that is okay. That is absolutely okay. Okay. Right. Like that's fine for them to do, because people want to have excitement. People want to have hope. People want to have all those things. But again, at the same time, if you've ever followed anything Kevin Feige has said, for a damn fact, for a damn ass fact that he is very much in the position of like never wanting to tell anyone no. But when he's kind of cooking something up, and when he's not. There's no feasible, conceivable, legal way for this to happen. It just won't happen, right? Maybe animated. I won't say never, but I think I don't think it's going to happen live action. Maybe animation. I don't know. But one thing we do know, one thing we got to look forward to, is another Marvel Studios special presentation is in the works. Feige has confirmed it. We obviously have no idea what it is. Obviously, Werewolf by Night was really well received. The Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special was really well received. Why they haven't done more of these? I think if they did one of these like twice a year, what you do is you have 2 Marvel movies a year, 2 Marvel shows a year, and then a Marvel special presentation like once or twice a year. And I think that would be enough Marvel content coming out to keep people feeling like they are running, that like they have to do homework. And that's actually one of the things that Kevin Feige was recently talking about when it comes to superhero fatigue. He says here that there is is more about feeling of having to do the homework, saying that there are all these individual stories meant to be enjoyed as singular entities. The connectivity is a bonus and something that a lot of people like. Well, the thing, like I've said before, like Marvel is kind of starting to pull back on that a little bit. They are starting to kind of rescind on that a little bit. They want more standalone, non-super connected stories. I do think that's a bit of a mistake. You've sold your entire thing, your entire Marvel Cinematic Universe as being all interconnected stories. Not that every story has to be 100% tied in, but don't back away from that so far to where it ends up becoming so disjointed. Nobody knows which way is up. Having a continuous timeline is a good thing. It's a good storytelling thing. We'll have to wait to see what they do with it. I think some of it may be lost in translation, to be honest with you. I think some like the wording might be lost in translation, or like the intent maybe. But then again, these are only like some of these particular little, comments. These are just quotes discussing film, which is just, again, it's a nice resource. They summarize everything as much as they possibly can. Like as I was recording, this just popped up, believe it or not. So it's kind of breaking news. Kevin Feige says there are no immediate plans for Eternals 2. And that's got a lot of people kind of laughing. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I haven't seen Eternals. I haven't really cared about seeing Eternals, to be honest with you. I keep being told it's a masterpiece, but at the same time, it's it just didn't seem to kind of wow me. It didn't seem to kind of wow me. I mean, look, the movie, only did $402 million worldwide, but it did come out, a month and some change before Spider-Man Far From Home. It came out at No Way Home. It came out at a really, really, really inopportune time for Marvel, because the year before that we had Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. No, that was 2022 that we had that. But it's just it's just not a good week for that. It just didn't bode well. And I don't know how well it's done on home video. I don't know how well it's done on streaming. One day I will watch it. But that at this point will probably be leading up to the release of Eternals 2, or at least some kind of continuation of that storyline. But it goes to show you right now that Marvel is backing away from some of the properties that just kind of maybe failed to ignite the box office. When you have billion-dollar hit after billion-dollar hit and your movies make more than less than that, right? Like less than half of that. You're in a situation where people are going to be, you're going to have to be reevaluating certain things, unfortunately. But again, I hate to say it like that. It's just, this is just Hollywood in a nutshell. All right, guys. But anyway, that's going to wrap us up for today. I really appreciate everybody tuning in for this episode. Be sure to join the Discord. Check that out. I do appreciate everybody who joins and hangs out with us. Also join the Hollywood After Dark Premium. Help out. Be a pal. Be a friend. I love you. Thank you guys very much for that. Also, what is up with this image? I just don't, seriously, it's like a weird throat gagging thing. Zack Snyder's into some weird stuff. But if you plan on watching the Rebel Moon 6.5 hour cut coming out later this week, let me know. I'll watch it. I don't know if I'll be able to finish it. My daughter's birthday is this next weekend. So, when this comes out, it's the same weekend it comes out. I don't know. It's going to be wild. Maybe I can get lucky and see it early. Who knows? I'll have to reach out to Netflix and see if they let me. Either way, guys, what are your thoughts? Let me know down in the comment section. Have yourself a great day. Thank you again for listening to Hollywood After Dark, and peace out.